Okay, hello and welcome to Storm One Speaks. I'm Bruella, your one-shot reporter, bringing you the latest word on the street. Today we're going to be meeting my guildmate Roidz from the guild Spiral Out. I'll be asking him some questions about his experience on World of Warcraft and finding out a little bit more about him. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How long have you been playing World of Warcraft?
About 2 weeks after release, so 8 years, maybe 9. I'm not sure exactly.
That's a long time. So you played like right when it first came out?
About a month after, yeah.
Wow. What got you started?
It was actually my friends. We used to go to a game shop and hang out there, just have all-nighters, play a lot of video games, stuff like that. And after I realized I was like the only person playing Halo, I wanted to know why that was. So walked over to the computers, and all my friends are sitting over there playing this game. And I'm like, well, this looks dumb. You guys are like killing dragons and stuff. Doesn't look too fun. They're like, why don't you try it? So ended up getting on, and first time I logged on to WoW, I spent, I think, 14 hours straight playing, and I don't think I've stopped since.
That's awesome. You put a lot of game time in, huh?
Yes, 1 second, Warlock. Okay.
Oh, good times. Do a lot of Horde hang out here?
Not that I know of. Just apparently today.
I know, exactly, right? Can you tell me, first of all, be on the lookout for more, and can you tell me, how old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
And what do you do when you're not playing WoW?
As of late, it's been work. For that, mainly a lot of just friends and etc. Hanging out, having good times. That's about it.
So the rest of your life, right?
Pretty much.
Right on. So, have you made a panda yet?
No.
Are you you're anti-panda?
Very much so.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh.
Yeah, they actually irritate me a little bit, but okay.
No problem. How many tunes do you have, and what are their names?
Their names change quite a bit because I transfer quite a bit. I go all over the place. For the most part, my rogue's name has always been either Grim, Grimy, or Vile. My rogue is probably the character I'm best at. I love the playstyle of rogues. I love how they work. Love rogues. I've played them very competitively ever since Burning Crusade. My rogue is 90 now, as of a couple weeks ago. My very first tune was a gnome warlock whose name was Lugrande, which is my last name. I was never really too good at picking names.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, he's who I started out with. Took me forever to get to 60 back then. Vanilla was a whole different game, and he's always been kind of my back burner alt sort of deal since Burning Crusade, but before that he was my main. And then now you see I have my warrior Roidz, or if I go Horde, Rampa Stompa.
Rampa Stompa.
Yes. He's either orc or human. It doesn't vary past that. I started him at the beginning of Wrath, and when I did start him, I just kind of fell in love with the way Warrior's playstyle is. I'm not the best warrior, but I'm definitely not bad.
I haven't made a warrior yet, and I can say that out of all the classes, I think that I dislike rogues the most because they're the ones I always get ganked by. But congratulations for playing yours well. So right now, who would you consider to be your main?
Right now, it would definitely be Roidz. This Pandaria, rogues kind of got the bad end of the stick, but it looks like in 5.2 that might change.
That's what I hear. What about 5.2 are you most looking forward to?
Mainly just being able to play my rogue on a competitive state again. I mean, the warrior nerfs are needed. I can't even deny it. I do want them to dumb down Shadow Priest a little bit. Maybe mages a little more, just because mages, I hate them. I've always hated mages. Just don't like them. But 5.2 looks like it's going to be a fun patch, and it's definitely going to change the playstyle that we're currently playing in competitive playstyle.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think about some of the transmog changes coming up?
I actually like it a lot because I like a lot of like two-handed swords, and if I do become an orc, I can transmog my axes to swords, which is awesome. I like the fact that you're not going to be limited on what you can transmog it to, etc. I think it'll be really cool, and I just think it's a good change in general.
Come over here so we get out of the flapping wings of that Drake. Oh, it went away. In your opinion, right now, what do you think is the most powerful class in the game?
You know, it's hard to say because there's so many ways to, like, different ways to take it. You know, straight damage right now, I'd have to say mages and Shadow Priest have it. Healers, it's overall I would say Resto Druids right now are pretty strong, along with Resto Shamans. They just have their heals are a lot better than Holy Pally or Priest right now, just in general. I mean, they have a lot more defensive CDs. They have escapes now, especially with Resto Druids being able to get Displacer Beast. I mean, they can get out of almost any bad situation, especially for a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
If I played a Shadow Priest or something that was range and didn't really care if they got away, I'm sure I wouldn't say Resto Druids are the most OP, but from a warrior standpoint, Resto Druids and mages are my hands down counters. Like, very hard for me to beat either.
Can you tell me some of the things that you find frustrate you the most about World of Warcraft?
Yes. One thing that frustrates me with World of Warcraft, just in general, has got to be the fact that back when the game was in Burning Crusade Vanilla, it was much more hardcore, much more, I guess, the more time you spent on it and the more effort you put into things, the more you could get done. Whereas now, it's much more casual. I mean, I can log on once a week and have the same gear as if I played week. That aspect of it, I don't like, but at the same time I do, because, you know, back in BC, back in Vanilla, I was a lot younger. I had a lot of time to just waste on WoW. Now, not so much. So, it's kind of good, and at the same time, kind of frustrates me.
No, I totally hear that. What advice would you have for any new players who might be watching?
You know, I really only know a whole shit ton about PvP. And one thing I can say to new players is don't get discouraged. Always have a positive attitude as far as any arenas or rated battlegrounds go. because it's probably the biggest thing you can have to make yourself more successful. Always try to ask questions, always look for what you might be doing wrong, and always watch a lot of the veteran players or high-rated players' streams. I mean, you can learn a lot from it just by watching and seeing what they do to get out of certain situations that might be holding you back.
I would definitely have to agree with you, for sure. Being a new player, I still feel like I'm a new player. I mean, the World of Warcraft, I mean, there's so much to know and so much to learn, and the best way is to ask questions and watch, for sure. Can you tell me what are some of your favorite sites to go to, your World of Warcraft information sites?
No, I really don't look up too much. If I do, I would definitely say Arena Junkies is probably my favorite site to just go to, and look at watch streams, see who's what combos are running the highest rating right now, what's doing this, a lot of forum talk, just talking about changes and what the player base thinks will happen to the game, based off of certain changes or certain nerfs, buffs, etc. Another great site is skillcap.com. I can't remember what the memberships are, but they're relatively cheap. I mean, definitely affordable. And if you are looking to get competitive into Arena and you don't know where to start, I would definitely suggest subscribing there and looking at the videos, listening to some of the guides. I mean, it's a site that's ran by who have always been rank 1 players. The information is hands down legit. I mean, no better site out there for trying to get competitive.
That sounds good. Actually, you're the first person I've heard to mention either of those sites, so it's good to get new information. Can you tell me do you have a special gaming setup, key bindings? What have you got?
It's mainly my keyboard. I love my keyboard. It's a Razer Anansi. It has 7 buttons for a thumb modifiers, 5 keys off to the left of where your tab, caps lock, shift, and control are. The keyboard is really like, once you get your key bindings down, and once you start, going outside of just the 1 through 6 and the, I guess you could say, Q through B, you'll find yourself needing more key bindings than just that. And when you do, you don't want to be going out of your way to hit other key bindings. So a keyboard like this gives you great capabilities to keep your hand where it needs to be and still have all these extra buttons for what you need. Another thing is your mouse. Second.
Sounds like you're hooked up.
Pretty good. Yes, I run just a standard 2-button modifier mouse, nothing too special. I can't remember the model name of it, but it's just Razer gaming mouse, 2-button modifiers. I use that for my Trinket and my Colossus Smash.
Oh, right on. What can you tell me would you think are some of your best PvP experiences?
Well, that's a hard question because I've PvP'd the entire time I played WoW.
Do you have anything that stands out as like your best moment maybe, or any awesome achievements you've gotten?
One thing I would say, like, that I will probably never forget, I had a buddy, this was back at Burning Crusade, near the end. My rogue had literally all the gear you could possibly want. I had double Warglaves, 4-piece Brutal, 4-piece, you had your Sunwell gear and then your Black Temple gear. And I really had the best gear I could have. And he was leveling up a 65 warrior at the time over in the Grand, and he got ganked. So I went over there and I killed this guy who's ganking him, and he calls over some friends, and it ended up being this giant brawl. Like, they ended up bringing more and more and more people, and I just and remember, CCing each one of them, and then killing one, and then vanishing away, and then going back, re-CCing, and like killing another, and just continuing on to where, for the most part, they didn't even get to hit me until at least 4 or 5 of them were dead, and it was just funny. And my buddy, he remembers, like, as a warrior at the time, he saw me play my rogue, and logged out of his warrior, remade a rogue, and started leveling that from there.
Awesome. So you were sharing the wealth of the rogue there.
Oh yeah, definitely showing some people how it's done.
I have a couple of last questions for you. You sound like a guy that would probably use add-ons. Do you use any, and if so, what are they?
I use a lot of add-ons. Mainly, they're just things to change my UI. I run Bartender, everything nice and tight. I use a chat. I can't remember the chat add-on I use, but it's just something to where you can customize it, make it smaller, make it bigger, whatever, font, colors. And then I use Xperl unit frames, just so I can have everything where it's conveniently placed for me. Most of it's for UI. I run Deadly Boss mods just because it's a good add-on for everybody to get. For arenas and battleground targets, Cool Line, which is a cooldown timer, Gladiator LOS SA, which is this nice calm voice that tells me exactly what cooldowns they're popping to try to kill me.
Nice.
Yes, it's very nice. And I use Gladius, which is just tells me what the enemy team is once we open up the gates.
Awesome, that's a lot of add-ons. Well, we're towards the end of our interview, but I can't end it without asking, do you feel that in the guild that you're in, that I'm in, Spiral Out, do you think people might have some misconceptions about you, and if so, what are they? Is there anything that you'd like to clarify?
Nothing I'd really like to clarify. My attitude and the way I act towards people in my guild, all of our main players and members who actually know me know I'm actually a really nice guy. However, for anybody new, I can be kind of a troll or kind of an asshole just with my attitude in general. And I've made a couple people quit our guild. Some of our members have quit our guild, come back and been like, Roidz, you're an asshole. Can you stop? And it's not exactly something that I necessarily stop. It's just something that everybody gets used to. And they're like, that's why we love this guy.
I have to agree with you. I think you've made a lot of friends here for sure. Is there anything else that you'd like to add in closing?
I can't say there is. Thank you for taking the time to interview me, and I'm glad that you did it.
Hey, my pleasure. It's a pleasure to interview you and get to know you a little bit more. And now it's time for random dancing. So go ahead and shake a leg. Woohoo!
Yeah, human dance is pretty awesome.
Human dance rocks. The panda is so crazy. So silly. Nice. Alright. Thanks, Roidz.
Not a problem.